Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be breaking down some more recent events surrounding the scripted reality. Now, what is the scripted reality? Well, it's a bizarre phenomenon in which programming that we see in entertainment, media, and also commercials, music, it starts manifesting in our physical reality. Now, there's a whole lot behind this and why it happens. I didn't want to spend the whole show today explaining that, but just briefly, this is what the enemy uses as some form of visual voodoo, Hollywood visual voodoo, in which he can manifest his plans through fiction. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it has a whole lot to do with how they are trying to manipulate our reality. Now, the first thing that we're going to do today is break down this really creepy connection that I found to the Foo Fighters 666 movie. It's called Studio 666 and their drummer's death. And then at that point, after we're done with that, we'll get into another film that came out 14 years ago called Hancock. Now, of course, if you're a person that studies word etymology and things like this, you understand that these words have significant meaning. The cocking of the hand is something people do before they slap someone, isn't it? Now, in this particular film, Will Smith deals with personal anger management problems, which is exactly what he's dealing with right now. Now, all of this is scripted, of course, but we're going to show you how this all works, that this is some kind of high sorcery. So let's get into this first film here. Let me make sure you guys can all hear me. Everything's good. We're connected up. And looks like the stream is going well. All right. So by now you've probably already heard about the drummer from the Foo Fighters. This is a world-renowned band. It's right up there in probably the top 10 bands of all time. I wasn't a particular fan of them, especially their recent work. I think I probably liked them back in their younger days, back when I was younger, because that music seemed to resonate with me. But as you become more and more awake in this reality, you begin to realize that all is not what it seems, and that these people are basically Pied Pipers for the devil. Now, for those of you that did not know, the drummer was found dead in a hotel room in Colombia just a few days ago. And what else you probably didn't know is that he died exactly 30 days after this film came out that the band did together. The film was called Studio 666. Now, of course, this is a horror flick, and of course, people die in horror flicks, but this goes beyond that. And I'm going to demonstrate it to you right now. Now, because of YouTube's strict rules, I'm just going to pretty much be showing you these clips, and you'll see how they seem to center around some kind of weird foreshadowing of his death. I'm not going to say why or how that happened, but we are going to show you some very bizarre connections that should not be there. Now, before we get into this and I show you these clips from Studio 66 or 666, let me give you the plot of the film. So basically it goes like this. The band is recording their 10th album, and they decide that they want to take it over the top, that they want to do something extra crazy. So they decide that in order for the album to be good and in order for it to be unique, they need a little help from the devil. Now, this is David Grohl you're seeing on the screen here, and his connections go all the way back to Nirvana and that whole thing surrounding the death of their lead singer. And so this goes very deep, doesn't it? And he's the lead singer for, of course, the Foo Fighters. Now, we've done a lot of study on the letter F, and of course, F is 6. And so here you have FF, Foo Fighters, 66. So it's no wonder why they would make a film called Studio 666. Now, this is kind of odd for a rock band to do a film. It was almost as if the film was done for a specific purpose. But let's listen and watch here as this all plays out.
Look, I can get you a studio anywhere you want in town tomorrow.
It's our 10th album, okay? We can't do the same old
Now, I blocked out some of the words here, so if you're seeing or hearing words, hopefully I got most of them out, because there's a lot of cursing in this film. Okay, so this is Grohl explaining that they're going to try something different with the studio that they're going to record their 10th album at.
We got to break the mold on this one. Let's think outside the box. Let's go somewhere we've never been. Let's go to a cool place like Zeppelin. When Zeppelin went to the castle.
Now listen very closely, because this is very telling. He says, like Zeppelin went to the castle.
And there was the devil and the wizards and the dragons.
Devils and wizards and dragons. Now, as you just heard, he compared their choice of venue for inspiration to what Led Zeppelin did in the 70s when they rented this haunted castle. And I looked up this castle. It's called Headley Grange, Headley. And so the counterpart to this is that in the film, their manager rents them a haunted mansion in the Encino Hills. Now I looked up this castle where they recorded one of their albums, and it is just miles away from where Led Zeppelin's drummer died, John Bonham. And he died on the 25th day of the month, just like the lead singer of Foo Fighters died on the 25th day of March.
Let's think outside the box. Let's go somewhere we've never been. Let's go to a cool place like Zeppelin. When Zeppelin went to the castle, and there was the devil and the wizards and the dragons.
Taylor Hawkins, there he is there, March 25th, 6 months to the day from when the drummer died from Led Zeppelin, mentioned in the film. Now, in some other weird twist of fate, as you can see here, Taylor Hawkins was actually compared to the Led Zeppelin drummer by Grohl himself on at least one occasion in this particular article, NBC News article. So I wanted to go and see how far apart these drummers died. So I went into Google Earth. And I also looked at the dates of their death. Here is the place where the drummer died, Old Mill House in Clewer, Windsor, just a few miles away from where this castle was. He died in almost the exact same fashion, so kind of overdose. They say he vomited and choked, but it was because of too much alcohol and things in his system.
Let's think outside the box. Let's go somewhere we've never been. Let's go to a cool place like Zeppelin. When Zeppelin went to the castle, and there was the devil and the wizards and the dragons.
Here's Clewer, as you can see here, where that drummer died, Clewer Village, and then just a few miles away is the hotel, the creepy hotel or castle that Led Zeppelin recorded in. So we have a pattern here, don't we? Then I wanted to take this a step further, and I wanted to look at the dates between these two drummers' death. And what I found was unbelievable. 9/25/1980 is when the drummer for Led Zeppelin died, Bonham, and 3/25/2022 is when Taylor died. And look at this. 15,156 days, which is 666. Let's keep watching here.
We've used all those studios, okay? They all sound exactly the same, okay?
All right, so you want me to find you some wizards and dragons?
Yeah. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh, I do know what you're thinking, and I have the perfect place.
They're looking for a place to record a new album.
Do you guys get this overwhelming sense of death and doom?
There was another band, and they lived here in the 90s. They thought the sound was incredible, but they never finished their album.
Now, right away, within the first few minutes of this movie, you pick up on all these clues about the drummer about to die. Watch. Here you see someone hanging, blast in, and you see the drum set here prominently. This is one of the first flashbacks of the film that they get as they go into this haunted mansion in the Encino Hills.
Okay, so if we put the drums right here.
The first thing they mention, there's Taylor there. The first thing they mention is about where to put the drums based on this flashback or this premonition that he had. This is what kicks off the entire thing as they set up the Studio 666.
Facing this way.
Now, this is Grohl on the drums. Grohl apparently was a drummer as well. But now you're starting to see the juxtaposition of all this. Why is he sitting in Taylor's spot? Watch.
Yeah, it's like a quarter of an inch that way. Just a little. Who cares about a creepy death vibe? Drum sounds this good. Ah, it's too far. I break back. It's like a hair more, just like a tiny. Did you hear that?
I did.
Sweet, huh?
Whatever, Dave.
So they obviously want you focused on the drums, as you just saw there that Grohl is having the drum set adjusted so that the sound is perfect and so that it resonates with the house of death that they're in. Now at this point, the entire plot begins to revolve around David Grohl becoming possessed and sacrificing his band members one by one to complete the album. Now, Taylor comes in later. He is here after Grohl essentially puts a curse on his drums.
Krug was really into this place. You know the way the drums sounded?
Dave, seriously. I don't know. I guess we can do a couple drum tracks here in his honor. And
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about, right there. Something will come.
Song is pretty epic, dude.
Right? I do think it should have an ending, by the way.
Thank God.
Okay.
I do think it should have an ending. And as the film progresses, it's Taylor who has to lay down the final drum track to end the song.
Drum tracks tomorrow. And then we just gotta figure out how to end this thing. But if we call the cops right now, they're gonna turn this place into a crime scene, and you can kiss that awesome drum sound goodbye forever. He loved this band.
Kiss the drum sound goodbye forever.
He died for our band. Let's do this, you guys. Okay? Cops. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna need everybody's cell phones. Thank you. Thank you.
So there you just saw him crush his signal, his cell signal and his phone, which also signifies the end of someone. Your signal, your whatever you want to call it. Now, eventually, this is where they're heading with all this, with our cell phones. This will become the signal of your life. Your whole life is in your phone. So the metaphor is that a phone is like you. It's your cell. It's your body. It's your soul. And so he crushes his soul.
Thank you.
I don't have a phone anymore.
Thank you.
Haven't done your drum track yet. Dude, I ain't going anywhere near that psycho. Fuck that.
No, just go up there and fuck the drums so we can't finish the song.
Shouldn't be too hard for you.
Eat a bag of...
The ending. I can hear it.
The heartbeat, the ending on the drums. I mean, you guys, how much clearer does this have to get? This is unbelievable.
All we need to do is lay down the drums. Hear
Lay down the drums, which is metaphor for lay him down.
it.
Let's back this up a little bit.
All we need on the drums. Hear it. All we need to do is lay down the drums. Warm up. You're next.
you're next. And this is after he's already taken out several of the people in the band. Now, what is happening here? Well, I don't know. Was this whole thing written? Are these people unawares of what's going on? Was this whole thing written for them to play out in reality? That's kind of what I think's going on here. And when you play in Hollywood, you become victims to all this. Just like you're going to see Will Smith becomes a victim to this if it was scripted. I believe it was probably like 90% scripted, but there's a possibility there could have been some mind control here based on the roles that he played in the past. Let's keep watching here.
What do they know about fucking drums? You and me, right? We're drummers. We speak the same language. Let's finish the track.
Can't we just wait, dude?
So, Taylor obviously meets his end here, and he finally gets it with a symbol to the head. Gets basically his head chopped in half. And so, as you can see, the programming is very heavy here. Let's keep watching. So they find this book, and they realize that this demonic book is what is being sacrificed to, and that they weren't the first ones to come to this mansion, that other people had come there before them, and that's who's actually possessing Grohl. And now they go in and they go into detail here, and they talk about this Satan worshiper that came before to the house before them, and that he sacrificed to this creepy book so that he could complete his songs as well. And then history then repeats as the Foo Fighters and David Grohl sacrificed to the book as well to write their songs. And it ends up, they find out by the end of this that Grohl is actually possessed by the same spirit. And then there are all kinds of satanic sigils throughout the film. The seal of Satan, I think, is shown prominently in all this. But I'm not going to show you all that because you guys don't need to see that. Because I think these sigils, they contain some kind of power. So I don't like to show you guys this stuff if I don't have to. Let's keep watching here.
The devil rules all of rock and roll.
What? No, listen.
It needs an infusion. Devil will make rock and roll relevant again. The devil will make it dangerous. Oh, yeah. You know, rock and roll, it hasn't been relevant for a long time. It's time for your solo career.
So, if I was in this band, I would be running as far away from these people as possible after what I just showed you. Okay, I mean, unless they're in on it, I mean that's possible too. But I think a lot of these people are just, they join this stuff and they don't even realize how they're being manipulated unless you get to the highest levels. So, very, very cringy and very, very weird, isn't it? Now, I'm going to check in with you guys, and then we're going to get into another scripted reality. And this one is from the film Hancock. Of course, Will Smith starred in this film, and of course, he just slapped Chris Rock. Chris Rock got rocked by Will Smith's cocked hand. So, there's something weird going on, isn't there? And I captured some clips from this for you guys, just to show you what's going on, in which Will Smith, in this particular scene, he gets schooled about handling conflicts without violence. Watch.
Yeah, turn the other cheek, all that.
That's exactly right.
Well, just never turn that one, all right? Never let them punk you.
Hancock, Michelle, is this neighborhood bully.
We've been trying to teach Aaron a little bit about conflict resolution.
You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay, Aaron, eat your food.
Well, you deal with bullies. You take your right foot, bring it right up, catch him in his little piss pump.
Please, just stop. Michelle is not a man. Okay, he's a little boy, and his parents happen to be going through a really, really bad divorce, and that's why he's acting up.
She watches so much news that sometimes it gets to be a little too much.
Seriously.
Now, there's so many overlays here, it's not even funny. Everybody knows that Will Smith has been having marital problems. He's trying to hold on to his marriage by allowing his wife to kind of do whatever she wants. They're in like an open marriage. And it's crazy how this meltdown has started to occur in Hollywood. A lot of it is black on black, which is interesting to me, being a black man. It's like, what is the phenomenon going on here in which they're continuously depicting this kind of dysfunction? And why is this dysfunction happening now? After everything we've been through with Vidco 19 and the smack scenes. And I wonder if they're all connected. We've seen, we've seen the Kardashians and Kanye West and his meltdown, parading out his just really cringy, pursuing Kim Kardashian, even though they're clearly separated. The divorce is almost final, and I think it actually was final. And then he's going around following her like a puppy dog, sending her gifts, trying to get her back, and she's already moved on. And then he moved on. But then it was just all this tit for tat. Now, I don't cover a lot of the celebrity gossip because I just think it's kind of beneath this channel to do such a thing. Not to say that there isn't a place for it, but this celebrity stuff gets redundant because it's the same old story, right? They basically depict these celebrities in certain situations to further the agenda of the control that they want over the rest of us, right? In other words, these actors and actresses, they're Pied Pipers. And this is why they showed, like, Dr. Dre, for instance, having to pay out $200 million in child support and alimony because they want men to be okay with that. And they want to go, look, if he had to pay that much, then I got to pay. And it's all about control. And so they depict these people in these different scenarios. Many of them are just made up and scripted. They're not even real. Others might be real. You got some humiliation rituals mixed in there as well. It's a very convoluted and complicated thing, and you could literally end up chasing celebrity gossip rabbit holes forever and just get lost in it. And this is why we don't follow the celebrity gossip. But for the purposes of this decode, we should mention this, that Will Smith is having these marital problems. Okay? And so Charlize Theron brings this up about how the reason why the boy is being a bully is because he's got marital problems. All right? Now let's keep going with this.
That's a good idea.
You aim straight and make sure he can't use that thing for nothing but a flap to keep the dust out of his butt crack.
Okay, maybe you don't know this, but not everything in this world gets resolved with brute force. Not everything has to be bang, scream, blood.
So there's another thing here. There's a GENDER aspect to this, isn't there? Which is just weird to me because, Chris Rock is the person in question here who was on the receiving end of this slap. And, there have been comments made about him in the past. And so you hear the dialogue here, and they're talking about Michelle really isn't Michelle. It's Michael, I think is what she said here in the dialogue here. And he's talking about, kicking him in the what, and, and all this stuff. So let's keep watching here because there's more.
More blood.
What springs to mind?
Now, we get an appearance of the smack scene as well, which is just very weird and out of place. But if you consider that this film is happening right now, even though it came out 14 years ago, then it makes all the sense in the world. What am I talking about? Watch.
When you see this.
Norwegian homo.
So, this guy, I forget his name, but he's an actor too. He's actually been playing a lot recently in a new series called Ozark. He starts showing Hancock these comic books, and he's asking him, who do you want to be like? You need an identity, because this guy's basically trying to help Hancock with his identity and his anger management problems. Okay? And he pulls out a comic character called VAX, as you can see on your screen there. And Hancock says to him, he says some derogatory terms there that we can't repeat now, but guess what? This film is actually for sale on YouTube. You can rent this film. So now we got to ask ourselves, what does this mean? Now, this is crazy, and I'm getting chills right now because it just hit me. That they show this two-faced superhero. What caused him to fracture or split? Obviously, this. Which I believe is what's happening to these people. Causing them to crack up and to split. Wow.
What about that?
Homo in red. Norwegian homo.
I'll give.
Now, that's the end of the montage that I put together for you, but there's even more. Now, if you go into the script for Hancock, the film, something weird happens. It's not the script that it goes with the movie. And I know this because I just, before the show, I got on here and I looked up the movie. I put together the montage of Hancock just this morning before the show because I was just continuing to research and I thought, oh, we'll just include this with this show as well. And I go into the script and I'm looking and I'm trying to find the part where they mention baldness, and I try to find the part where they mention slapping. Because it's in the script, but it's not in the movie. And I'm going through the movie with a fine-tooth comb, and I cannot find in the movie where they mention baldness or slapping. But yet, here it is, right here in the script. "You're not unattractive," says the secretary. The fireman says, "Baldness is not fatal." The jumper says, "My wife ignores me." Let's type in slap. And here we go again. Now I had to zoom the other one out because there was some derogatory language in the script. And so I had to zoom that one out a little bit. But here's the word slap as well. Let's find it here. Oops. So, they're talking about a Superman lunchbox. "Eat and we'll go. Where's your father? You forgot the corn. I'm sorry, honey. I was hoping Daddy will be home before we leave. I'm sorry. You're having your blah blah, Mom." She responds with a brisk slap to the head. Smack. Now, again, none of that is in the actual movie. For some reason, the script that was put in there contains all the elements of what really happened in real life a few days ago at the award show when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for basically making fun of his wife because she's bald. So, what do we make of all this? Well, it's the scripted reality, isn't it? Hancock was all about a dysfunctional superhero who was forced to face his demons head on and deal with his anger management. Now I think we figured out why they named the film Hancock. Because Will Smith's hand has always been cocked and ready to slap somebody, hasn't it? You know, reality imitates art, or vice versa. Now, all this could be coincidence, couldn't it? I guess it could be. But I don't think so. All right. Thanks for all the birthday wishes, you guys. Yeah, today's my birthday. March 29th, 88th day of the year. I'm 49 now. 7 times 7. I better watch out. And we've been on here, gosh, it's been 10 years that we've been on YouTube. And so each and every day I enjoy waking up, talking to you guys and breaking down the matrix, decoding this stuff. And all the glory, of course, goes to the Most High. I don't even really like to be recognized for my birthday because I don't like the focus of attention on myself. But thank you nonetheless. I appreciate it. And we're going to keep on going, you guys. We're going to keep on exposing this stuff. All right, let's go into the chat for a little bit. Hang out with you guys. Yeah, it's been 10 years. We started this channel in 2012. I think actually it was like 2011. So yeah, it's been a very long time. We're one of the fortunate ones to still be around. You know, a lot of people are under heavy attack. I know that Patreon's starting to defund people. Remember way back when I told you guys, I go, it's a setup with the whole Patreon thing. And you notice we've never had a Patreon. That's because we listen to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit says, don't go on Patreon. So now we're seeing the effects of it. Channels are losing their funding. A lot of these channels depend on Patreon because their channels have been demonetized. And so now their entire livelihood has been pulled out from under them. KJ happened to several other huge YouTubers. And here's the crazy thing with Patreon, is that you don't even have to have content on Patreon. They look at your footprint online. In other words, somebody is going around looking at all your social media sites, waiting for you to slip up so they can pull the rug out from under you for whatever they want to pull it out from under you for not going along with the agenda. Oh, let's just imagine maybe you support Russia. Let's say that was the case. They could pull you for that. We're now living in a society where there are very few of us left who can speak for the most part freely. I mean, yeah, we change words around, but we say what we want to say. We just have to watch how we say it. And now what's going to happen is we're going to live in a society of mind control. That anybody with any substantial or significant voice to affect other people will be controlled. They will be defunded if they do not play ball. And I don't know about you guys, but it's a lot of work to do what we do. And so if you're doing this, you don't have time to work a conventional job. This becomes your job, and it's a very important job because we have a voice to stand up against tyranny. Because if we're not standing up against tyranny, who's going to stand up for tyranny? Who's going to stand up against tyranny if people like us aren't calling these people out for what they're doing and exposing evil in this world? There will be nobody left to stand against tyranny. And so this becomes a very, very important job. You know, it's sad to me. I put up a link because I want to help my friends as much as I can here on YouTube and in social media. I help who I can. And as you guys know, it's very difficult for me to, get behind anybody because I feel like sometimes I get burned. And it's not, anyone's fault. It's just, it's about aligning yourself with the right people. But there are a handful of people on this platform who I do consider my friends. Okay, and KJ is one of them. KJ just got defunded, so I thought it would, be a good idea to post the video that he showed about him losing his Patreon. Not only just because he lost his Patreon, because it's no one's responsibility to support us. Okay, you guys are not responsible for supporting us. It's the system that's broken. It's the discrimination on the platform that defunds us. And it's very hard to ask people for help. Which is why I never do. We have the links there for people that want to, but I don't come on here and constantly bombard you and guilt trip you into thinking that it's your responsibility to support me, because it's not. But when you see things like what happened to KJ, you realized more than just about him losing his ability to support himself, but it's more so about the unfairness in the system and what's coming down the pipe for all of us, because it's not going to stop here. It's not going to stop with people like us on a platform. This is going to become your life too, where they go into your bank accounts and shut off your bank accounts for not complying with what they want you to do. And that could be getting a smack scene. It could be anything that they want. The minute they start linking your income to how you behave online, even if you're not doing anything illegal, that then is the litmus test that then becomes the poster child, whatever you want to call it, for all of our futures. So I was saddened when I put the link up to help KJ that a few of you came forward and criticized him and criticized people like me and said you were tired of channels asking for money. Well, guess what? You should complain to YouTube, not to us. They're the ones that pulled the regular funding, which is how people used to get by, from these channels and forced people to set up Patreon accounts to get by. Redirect your anger to where the anger is due. Now, of course, there's a whole spectrum of how giving and things like that work. And I do not agree with people that get on every single day and are like, give me money, or I can't pay my rent, or I can't do this. That crosses the line. But when someone puts a link up and they never mention it, and people give to support the cause of free speech and freedom, that's different. And so when someone gets that taken from them, then we all need to stand up and say something. Because like I said, right now it's just us. It's people with a voice. But tomorrow it's going to be all of you. And they're going to start linking your bank accounts to your activity in this life. Social credit. They're going to be shutting your bank accounts off in your method of having money. Look, KJ and I have been he's been in this longer than I have. He's been on YouTube for 16 years. I've been here 10 years. Never seen anything like this. And when both of us started, there was no ability to support yourself on YouTube. We all had jobs. But then there came a point where we had to choose. Do you want to continue to feed the beast system with our career jobs? Or do you want to become a person that fights against abuses full time and helps to raise the alarm? And you have to step up your level. You have to spend a lot more time doing it. You put yourself at much higher risk. You give up, your privacy, and then you become blacklisted from your old career. That's happened to me. Over the years, I'm not going to lie, over the years, I had looked at maybe going back into my career in some kind of a role that might have been more aligned with my morals, like maybe diabetes. I'd applied one time to sell diabetes pumps because that's something people need, right? And so I started to realize something, that I wasn't even getting called back. You guys, I was a career rep for 15 years. I have so much experience it'll make your head spin. I could probably be a director of a company in the pharmaceutical area. But I chose not to go back there, nor was I given a choice to, because you become blacklisted. They don't want you back because you've already spilled the beans on them. So be careful about how much you hate on people who are, need fundraising to actually keep going and keep exposing this stuff. Judge not, lest thee be judged yourself. Who is doing more for the kingdom? Is it someone who, goes to work every day at a conventional job, but they cannot voice their opinions and help affect change in this world while making a company richer? Or is it a person like me or KJ who's given up everything and can't even go back to that world, but at least we have a voice to say what we want and expose evil? I don't think either job is better. I think that we all have our roles to play, don't we? We all have our responsibilities. Some of us are in the 9 to 5 doing what we do. Others of us are here doing this. So, shame on the people that came forward and were being mean about KJ losing his funding on Patreon. Shame on you. Yeah, I said it. And hopefully people wake up to this and understand what's really going on, how they're trying to pit us against one another. This is the kind of infighting they want. They want people mad. They want people mad at people like KJ or me for crowdfunding. They want you to be jealous. But understand that that kind of infighting and that kind of tactic is turning us against one another. And then one day, when you realize there are no more voices speaking up for your rights and freedoms, and that cops can just come in and do what they want, and the IRS can just come in and do what they want in your life, and banks can start going into your account, and you go to pull out money out of your ATM, and you can't. Why? Because you said something online. Then you'll remember. You'll be like, wow, I wish those voices were still there standing up for us. Now, this isn't a reprimand to 99% of the people on this channel, because most of you guys are amazing. But there is a segment out there, and you guys know who it is. They make entire channels beating up on us, dividing the community. Get a job. You guys, I hear it every single day. Every single day. So, let's go back into the chat. All right. Now, as far as I know, he's doing okay. You know, the people that were supporting him on Patreon simply moved over onto another platform. I don't want anyone in this chat right now to feel as though, because everybody's struggling right now. When people like KJ and I put up a link, it's only for the people that are able to do it. If even you have to give it a second thought and go, wow, can I afford that? Then don't do it. Because that right there means that maybe you can't afford it. Maybe you can't afford it. But when everybody does a little bit, everybody who's able, $6 a month, that's what we do on our channel. That's like the standard. Then it's a cup of coffee per month. So when you're having that cup of coffee, you realize you've helped out a channel to stay afloat, to keep doing what we're doing, right? So nobody is getting rich over here anymore. That's not how it works. In fact, there's got to be some kind of defunding algorithm that's happening here on YouTube, right? This is what they've done. They've done it to everybody. And even when you're up, or you think you're up, YouTube comes through, and as soon as they start to see you get traction, they cut you off at the knees. And this is how it works, unfortunately. This is what they've done to our community. And you can see it. You see it happening to all the channels, you guys. You see it happening. It's by design. So, I think KJ is going to be fine. The people went over to a different platform. You know, I don't like that my YouTube channel is attached to anything that I'm doing in terms of how I support myself. And so that was the first mistake, the Patreon linking to your YouTube channel, because at any time they can decide that you've violated the terms. What you want is something separate from all that. That's why we were doing PayPal for a while, and then we switched over to fundraiser, but my fundraiser isn't really linked to my channel. So those are just some information on the back end of how everything works. You know, nobody wants to put up a fundraising site, but many of us have been forced to, because we've already jumped into the other boat. We've already left our careers behind. We've already decided that we're going to stand up for the kingdom in the ministry, even if it meant our livelihoods. Even if it meant our livelihoods. So, I just saw a new channel member. Thank you for joining the channel membership. And for the rest of you, look, you guys are amazing. Just showing up every day is all that matters. You're doing what you need to do to help the kingdom. Showing up, spreading the information. So don't ever feel less of or guilty for not being able to help. Just being here is all that matters. All right. What else do we have in the chat here? So what do you guys think of Hancock? That was a pretty accurate match, wasn't it? Will Smith said at the awards, Denzel told him, at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you. Yep. That's it. Now it's crazy because just days before, several of you put in the comment section, I'm trying to think who it was. Donna. I actually saw a comment from Donna. And she said, she mentioned the movie that Denzel Washington was in. in which the devil was hopping from body to body. And he was singing, "Time is on my side." And that was all about the devil hopping into people, wasn't it? So, weird times. Yeah, it was the worst superhero movie ever. That's why I didn't put you guys through a complete decode of the film, because there is some fallen angel aspects to it. By the end of the film, Charlize Theron says that we are gods, fallen angels. I think she actually says fallen angels. And that, Will Smith doesn't remember that he's a god, and they were actually married at one point. And so there's all this weird stuff going on in that film as well. But it was just a really poorly written film. So, yeah, the name of the film was Fallen. Thanks. That was the one with Denzel Washington in it. Now, I decoded that years ago. Maybe it's worth taking another look at. All right. Thanks, Bartholomew. Thanks. Not so fresh, Prince of Bel-Air. What's weird is okay, so let me explain to you how the process works for me personally in my personal relationship with the Most High. I usually wake up in the morning or right before I wake up, and God sends this message into my head. And this particular morning, he said, there's got to be more to this slapping ritual that just happened. He's like, go back and look and see what other films that's happened in with Will Smith. Because there's got to be somewhere where he got slapped or someone got slapped, or and that's when the Hancock popped right into my head. And I'm like, wow, cocking your hand back. Thanks, Kanan. Appreciate the channel membership. And sure enough, I didn't even know what was in the script. I didn't know it was about bullying. And I pull up the script and I start searching, and there is the bullying aspect, self-control, anger management, exactly what happened at the awards. I was shocked, but this happens to me probably twice a week. Sometimes when it first started happening to me years ago, it would freak me out a little bit. I would get emotional. I'd be like, wow, that's just crazy. It's almost like you're talking to me. And over the years, I've just learned to accept it, absorb it, and continue to keep my head down and do the work that he has charged me to do. Now, what benefit does it do God to have all this stuff revealed? Well, I believe it has to do with exposing the enemy. It also has to do with glorifying the Most High, because all things are exposed. It says it right there in the Bible. Nothing that was hidden will stay hidden. It will all be exposed. So we're doing really important work, aren't we? We're exposing the enemy and his sorcery and how he manipulates people in Hollywood and all of that. So we're going to keep on working as long as he'll have me, and as long as you guys will have me. We'll keep on doing this work. I love each and every one of you. And let's see, what do we got tomorrow? I think we have more between the headlines. Oh, we're going to be looking at some UK crane connections to Khazaria. Did you know that ancient Khazaria was a country that with borders that lined up almost exactly with UK crane? I didn't know that. One of you guys sent me that information, so we're going to delve into that. We're also going to look at some other headlines. They also found out that some people are having hearing problems. Let me just show you this headline real quick. This is unbelievable. I'm not going to say that because I don't want to have this show messed up, but we'll talk about that, I think, tomorrow. We've got beams of light in the sky spotted around the world as they try to write this off as nonsense. We're going to talk about individual freedoms and rights in living off the land and how that is being cracked down on. We're also going to talk about microplastics found inside human blood. Are they microplastics or are they something else? So, a lot to talk about tomorrow, so we'll see you guys then. Love each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your day. Take care and be safe.